Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Samurai Wheels, coming to you from one of our favorite racetracks.
This is Honjo Circuit, about 2 hours outside of Tokyo. Does that mean we're covering sports cars today?
Well, not quite. You see, sports cars are at one end of the evolutionary scale, and the cars we're looking at today are at the other end of the evolutionary scale. They can turn on a dime, they can run on the smell of an oily rag, they're small, they're cheap, and they're peculiar to Japan.
You're talking about K-cars.
Yes, you're right. You're very right. You see, today we're going to be looking at the 3 biggest selling K-cars in Japan last year to decide which is our favorite K-cars.
Well, this is certainly a good place to put them through the paces.
So let's get out on the track and find out which is our favorite K-car.
In Japan, there is an ultra-compact segment that has evolved in a unique way, the K-car. It's the world's smallest vehicle class, with strict limits on body size and engine displacement. K-cars are extremely popular in Japan. In 2016, half of the top 20 best-selling cars were K-cars. Competition in this segment is fierce. But one car has managed to grab the top spot 2 years running. The Honda N.box. Since its debut in 2011, sales have blown past the competition, topping 1 million units in just 5 years. That's a record for Honda. F1 veterans from Honda's golden age in the 90s helped design the engine, which tends to be the spot K-cars lack in the most. But the N.box has some stiff competition. The Tanto holds the #2 sales spot from Daihatsu, Japan's top K-car maker. Credit the Tanto for bringing the one-box format to the K-car segment. Daihatsu wanted to smash the stereotype of K-cars as being small and cramped, and they did it by focusing on utility and comfort. Coming in at #3 in the sales rankings is the Nissan Dayz. It was launched in 2013. This K-car offers sophisticated safety enhancements that make it ideal for older drivers and those who lack confidence on the road. Ukyo and Peter will put each of these vehicles to the test and see which one will be crowned the ultimate Samurai Wheels K-car.
Okay, Ukyo, here are the 3 biggest selling K-cars in Japan from last year. So we have these 3 cars here, and if we look at the Honda N.box and the Daihatsu Tanto over there, both of these cars are about 1.4 million yen, whereas the Nissan Dayz is a little bit cheaper. It's about 1.3 million yen, which is about $11,500.
Not a big difference, really.
Pretty good, yeah. So we're going to check the design of these cars now, and we're going to find out which is our favorite design. So let's go and have a look. Exactly, I feel the same. Let's start at the Nissan Dayz. It is quite stylish, actually. I think it's got a lot of aerodynamic traits in there. You can see the lines going down the side to this huge.
Wow!
Huge.
They are large.
Tail light. Look at the size of this brake light at the back here. Try and give it some real identity. What do you think?
K-cars often look similar to each other because of the specs. But the Dayz has a different look.
That's exactly right.
This feels luxurious.
Yeah, I like. Actually, it's got the two-tone color scheme in here with this sort of beige, sort of in between a beige and a cream. And you've got the
Piano black.
piano black, which is very, very popular on Japanese cars right now.
This touch panel is high-end for a K-car.
This actually looks quite stylish in here, doesn't it, with this? And you've got this room light here. Look at this. Very stylish.
It's even got this.
Ah, of course, this has got Yeah, this is the minus.
Oh, negative ions. Very posh.
Very, very stylish. If we look at this car, it's basically, the silhouette is basically the same as the Honda N.box.
If you took off the maker's logos, it would be a little hard to tell which one was which.
Exactly, I think so. You're right there. And this also has a sliding door, but are you ready for it? Here we go.
Wow.
No B-pillar. I almost feel like a magician. Look at that.
Easy to get in and out of.
You don't have to bend down too far.
Most cars have a so-called B-pillar between the front and rear seats for extra body stiffness. Daihatsu hid the pillar in the Tanto's sliding door. The result is enhanced ease of use with no sacrifice in body stiffness.
Okay, so if I move this forward, like that, you should be able to get the little baby seat right in there, a little stroller, right in. It fits in like that, of course. That's brilliant. Look at that.
This is a big step forward. Without the B-pillar, it's easy to seat kids in the back, or for elderly people to get in. It really covers a broad range for all generations.
That's right. That is amazing. Wow, the first impression is you have a lot more headroom. Wow, look at this.
This is more like a bus than a K car.
Seat back down. We have a table.
I see.
But yeah,
You need to be stopped, though. If you hit the brakes while moving, you'd spill everything.
of course. So it's really, this is really very well done.
They put a lot of thought into this.
That's what it's all about, because as I said, the engineers and designers are given a certain dimension that they must work inside of and make the most out of it. Okay, let's check the #1 selling K car in Japan, the N.box. These seats are actually quite big. And one thing you notice is it's actually it's a little sportier in here, isn't it, than the other two?
There's a tachometer.
Taco.
That's Honda for you.
Okay, let's have a look at the back. In here, so it's a very comfortable seat. Lots of leg room. You've got these tables in the back here, and we lift this up. So lift this up, and look at that. Lock it in place, and look at this extra space you have here. That's huge.
Folding the seats back in that direction is a new way of doing things.
That is ingenuity. That is what these K cars are all about.
People don't have much living space in Japan. Our houses have been likened to rabbit hutches, but the Japanese know how to make the most of space. It's really an art form.
Exactly.
It's time for some test drives. First up is the car that is currently #3 in the sales rankings, the Nissan Dayz.
Wait, how much horsepower is this?
49.
49. It doesn't feel like very much, especially out here on a racing circuit. But the handling's something else.
That wasn't bad.
Not bad at all.
Your driving wasn't bad either. But
This is a nimble car.
that rolled less than I thought it would, actually. No, but to be honest, I would have thought that the Dayz would roll a lot more in a slalom like that.
Of the three, this one is the least tall.
Yeah.
They worked hard to give this a gentle ride.
Yeah. How's the brake feeling? How's the brake touch?
It's a light car, naturally. It's hardly a sports car, but the brakes do have a nice touch to them. I just wish the acceleration was better.
And when you think about it, I mean, it's a car for city driving. You're going to be driving in the city or in the rural areas of Japan where the average speed limit is 40 or 50 kilometers an hour. So you don't really need much acceleration.
From that point of view, it doesn't seem to be underpowered.
That's flat. Ah, I see what you mean. Well, how can you get that out of a non-turbo 3-cylinder 660 engine?
This one has much better get up and go.
Oh, really?
There's some low-speed torque.
Oh, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. But see, it comes out quite flat, doesn't it? It's not rolling a lot. You seem to be working less to get through that slalom than you were in the Dayz, yeah.
This has a taller body.
Yeah, you'd expect more roll.
Yeah. Even without the normal B pillar, the body still has the right amount of stiffness. The suspension is doing its job too.
And you don't need as much steering input. Okay, and the brake touch is good. Good response there on the brakes. It's actually absorbing most of the bumps, isn't it?
It's amazing that they could put the B pillar in the door and maintain this level of stiffness.
That's very significant. Guess what? The 3-cylinder 660cc engine you'll find in this car, the Honda N.box, is built by the same people who built the Formula One engines. Can you feel the difference?
I think this has the best engine.
Yeah, the engine's good because you've got 58 horsepower. So out of the three, it's the most powerful.
I can feel the extra power, but the handling is coming up short. It's that front engine, front-wheel drive layout.
I can feel it. You can feel the roll. And you can feel
See? Understeering.
Understeer City. Yes. As you said, it really does need some work at the front because it should not be understeering that much and squealing the tires that much at that speed. I mean, the ride quality is obviously very good. I mean, that's what these cars are all about. You have to have good ride quality because you're taking normally 3 generations of a family in the one car when you take them out to drive. But you think they need to work on the front suspension a bit?
It needs to be tighter overall.
So now, Ukyo, we're going to look at the luggage space of these 3 cars to find out which is the roomiest. And our diligent staff have just spent the last half an hour filling the cars with cardboard boxes. So let's see which is the biggest. Here you go, filled with cardboard boxes. Well,
These two look about the same, but the Dayz comes up a bit short.
see what's happening in the Dayz luggage space.
They did fit a lot in here.
Not as young as I used to be.
This reminds me of my old part-time job at a moving company.
Okay, Now that we've done this, we have 29 boxes from the Tanto, 34 from the N.box, and 22 from the Dayz. So it's exactly as we expected. The N.box has the biggest luggage space by quite a long way. It's a big car for a little car.
The N.box actually holds 5 more boxes.
That is amazing. I mean, just look at the size of it. Basically, the whole car is a box.
You're right.
The reason they were able to do this, to use this space here and make it as big as possible, get it as low a floor as possible, to give as much space as possible, is because Honda use something called a central fuel tank layout, which means that normal K cars have the fuel tank basically situated towards the back of the car, but the Honda N.box have the fuel tank in the middle of the car.
I'm not surprised. Honda's big on motorsports, so they pay a lot of attention to weight allocation and the best use of space.
K-cars are designed for and continue being refined for safe use on Japan's narrow roads. We wanted to see how our 3 competitors handle getting in and out of tight spaces. Ukyo's using camera-equipped sunglasses so we can see what he sees. Let's watch how the Nissan Dayz handles a tight S-turn.
The all-around view monitor, it really helps.
Yeah. Go. Good. Nice. Very good. Oh, there was at least 10 centimeters in that. Very good job.
The monitor makes things much easier.
So when you're driving, you're not looking down like this all the time. You're able to keep your head up and look around and look actually higher.
This course is a piece of cake for the Dayz.
Now it's time to check the reversing of this car, see how we can get it inside this little bay here. Oh, there we go. See, it's beeping all over the place. How are we going there? So you can hear the warning bells. We're being told that we're surrounded by walls.
This is the kind of support system every driver needs these days.
Has to be. There we go. How about that? No, because you get a good a sense of how big the car is, because you have these access through these side A-pillars there through the windows, and you also get a good feeling of the corners of where you are. Yep, so that's good.
This doesn't have a monitor like the Dayz, but these analog mirrors are helpful.
So you've got about 15 centimeters here.
The problem is those boxes. Oh, there they are.
Oh, okay. I think you can just make it. Just make it. Oh, yes, just as about him. Only a few millimeters in that one. Oh.
I should be turning the wheel earlier.
Yeah. Oh, you just tapped the boxes. You tapped the boxes.
You can see well enough with these mirrors, but you have to get used to them because the image is reversed.
It takes some getting used to, yeah, okay. Okay, Ukyo. So including the safety features and the reversing we just did, we're going to decide our top 3 for today. Let's see what you did. How did you vote?
Ta-da!
Oh, I see, okay. And I did something very similar. I think The Tanto is obviously, I think it just came out as the best car all day. I like the fact that it didn't have the B pillar, the feeling of claustrophobia you didn't have inside that car. I think it drove very well, it had a very good engine, it steered well, it had very good steering feel, and altogether the packaging was good. The reason I put the N.box above the Dayz is because of its packaging. I think at the end of the day, if you're going to spend 1.4 million yen on a car, you want it to have as much space inside. It has to have the quality inside. What did you think?
I had the exact same reaction. I rated the Tanto #1, but if I did this again tomorrow, I might switch #2 and 3. The N.box had more room for cargo, but I really liked the all-around view monitor on the Dayz.
Yeah, it's such a difficult choice because of it's almost like you're putting packaging against safety features, and which one do you go for at the end of the day?
Maybe we better switch. I just can't make up my mind.
See, that's how close it is.
Like an animal in the Galapagos Islands, the K-car segment has followed its own unique evolution in Japan. What direction will that evolution take in the future? We sat down with auto market analyst Jiro Munakata to discuss the future of the K-car.
I was just wondering how you see Japan's K-car market at the moment.
This shows how fast the ownership of K-cars has been growing every year. K-cars now account for 40% of passenger cars.
That's amazing.
At this rate, maybe they'll rise to 70 or 80% someday. Who knows? It's not impossible. 65% of K-car users are women. I think you can say that a lot of K-car ownership growth depends on them. And in rural areas, Japan has around 1 car per driver because public transportation is limited. Having multiple cars for each household is expensive, so 1 or more is usually a K-car.
Today's cars, the 3 we have today, are quite, I think, conservative maybe, quite boxy, but there are a lot of sporty K-cars out there that I think men would be happy to drive.
This chart shows the range of different body types that are available for K-cars. The 2-box type is probably the most common. The cars you drove today are minivan-type vehicles. Then there are specialty cars, light SUVs, and sports cars like the Honda S660. All in all, K-cars of today are offering something for a wide range of users' diverse needs. The original advantage of K-cars was that you didn't need certification of a parking space and taxes were lower. But today, people want K-cars for all kinds of reasons, and they're really evolving. I think you're right.
So just wondering, how do you see K-cars changing into the future?
I think people's reasons for choosing cars are changing. They're not just deciding based on catalogue specs like mileage, especially after all the recent scandals related to mileage claims. I think they're much more concerned about features and function than they used to be. Take safety features. Today's automatic braking systems for K-cars are almost on the same level as cutting-edge systems like Subaru's EyeSight. New features like this will be more and more important in appealing to drivers. Especially with the rising population of seniors, safety features are going to be a critical factor in choosing a car. I think so.
I was just wondering, do you think this style of car, this style of K-car, could take on overseas? Do you think it could gain in popularity in other countries apart from Japan?
Japanese automakers are already selling vehicles derived from K-cars overseas. For example, there's the Suzuki Alto, which is made for the Indian market. The Alto has a somewhat more powerful engine and a slightly larger body than that of a standard K car. In Indonesia and Southeast Asia, Daihatsu is selling a car based on their Mirror Ease, and it's quite popular. In markets with future potential, like Africa, I think we'll be seeing growing demand for these types of vehicles.
Could have these sort of cars could have a great importance in Africa. I think that's a very interesting point. It could advance motorization in Africa.
All they need is better handling. The size makes it challenging.
I hope the manufacturers are listening.
Looking at Japan.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Samurai Wheels, coming to you from one of our favorite racetracks.
This is Honjo Circuit, about 2 hours outside of Tokyo. Does that mean we're covering sports cars today?
Well, not quite. You see, sports cars are at one end of the evolutionary scale, and the cars we're looking at today are at the other end of the evolutionary scale. They can turn on a dime, they can run on the smell of an oily rag, they're small, they're cheap, and they're peculiar to Japan.
You're talking about K cars.
Yes, you're right. You're very right. You see, today we're going to be looking at the 3 biggest selling K cars in Japan last year to decide which is our favorite K cars.
Well, this is certainly a good place to put them through the paces.
So let's get out on the track and find out which is our favorite K car.
In Japan, there is an ultra-compact segment that has evolved in a unique way, the K car. It's the world's smallest vehicle class, with strict limits on body size and engine displacement. K cars are extremely popular in Japan. In 2016, half of the top 20 best-selling cars were K cars. Competition in this segment is fierce. But one car has managed to grab the top spot 2 years running. The Honda N.box. Since its debut in 2011, sales have blown past the competition, topping 1 million units in just 5 years. That's a record for Honda. F1 veterans from Honda's golden age in the 90s helped design the engine, which tends to be the spot K cars lack in the most. But the N.box has some stiff competition. The Tanto holds the #2 sales spot from Daihatsu, Japan's top K car maker. Credit the Tanto for bringing the one-box format to the K car segment. Daihatsu wanted to smash the stereotype of K cars as being small and cramped, and they did it by focusing on utility and comfort. Coming in at #3 in the sales rankings is the Nissan Dayz. It was launched in 2013. This K car offers sophisticated safety enhancements that make it ideal for older drivers and those who lack confidence on the road. Ukyo and Peter will put each of these vehicles to the test and see which one will be crowned the ultimate Samurai Wheels K car.
Okay, Ukyo, here are the 3 biggest selling K cars in Japan from last year. So we have these 3 cars here, and if we look at the Honda N.box and the Daihatsu Tanto over there,